To begin, I'd like to thank the town of Rosendale for hosting the 2013 Ulster County Executive Budget Presentation. We are taking the unique step of delivering this speech in a community-based setting for a very specific reason. The great town of Rosendale is a good example of the countless amazing places throughout New York State being negatively impacted by fiscal challenges, most of which are beyond their control. And as the county executive of Ulster County, I am passionate and committed to doing everything in my power to protect and serve each and every one of the 183,000 residents. The 2013 executive budget is designed to protect families, seniors, and to solve a series of long-standing problems with straightforward solutions. It protects property taxpayers at the county, town, and city levels while still ensuring essential services for those in need. This budget strengthens the county's financial foundation through recurring savings, reforms, and consolidations, and does not shy away from the difficult decisions needed to help grow our economy and make Ulster County more sustainable. This budget includes a plan for almost $11 million in taxpayer relief to the towns and the city of Kingston over the next 3 years as we transition to a 100% county takeover of safety net expenses. It also includes an honest solution to the unavoidable $23 million debt and volume problems at the RRA. It restructures Ulster County's economic development efforts to make them significantly better. And among other things, this budget lays out a vision for the future that grows our tourism economy with dramatically expanded rail trail availability. On top of all this, the 2013 executive budget delivers the first county-wide property tax cut in over a decade. Now at this critical juncture, solving safety net as well as the RRA's past debt problems while enhancing economic development and cutting taxes are all essential. But the fact remains, none of this is free. So to make these important changes possible, very difficult decisions are also included within this budget. To ensure mental health services remain available now and long into the future, we've had to restructure portions of Ulster County's mental health operation. This restructuring is a must, but it has also been gut-wrenching. To pay for the increased road and bridge work resulting from more frequent and severe storms, as well as to accommodate additional traffic loads, we've had to propose a modest vehicle registration fee of $5 for passenger cars and $10 for commercial vehicles. And to respond to the continued growth of unfunded mandates and reductions in state aid while still ensuring essential services, the hard but necessary choices have been made to reduce county spending by $3.6 million. Those difficult choices are precisely what has allowed us to begin the process of absorbing safety net expenses with great sensitivity to those ad valorem communities rightfully concerned about tax equity. Those same difficult choices have allowed us to begin this process without being forced to recapture any portion of the town's sales tax allotment. You see, as the county executive of Ulster County and previously as the county administrator, I've had the privilege of preparing county budgets totaling over $2.4 billion. All while ensuring essential services for the citizens of Ulster County through some of the most trying times in our history. This experience has provided me with valuable insights, a certain level of perspective, as well as a deep appreciation of just how much is at stake for the citizens of Ulster County. You see, unlike many years ago, the challenges facing county government now are no longer cyclical. They are actually structural. What that means is things aren't going to get better on their own. Action is required. It's also worth noting there is no more low-hanging fruit. So as I have said all along, government must change. And because my administration understood this early and never shied away from making what some perceive as bold choices, we've consistently been able to deliver innovative budgets that protect taxpayers, streamline county operations, and ensure essential services. This experience has taught me many things, but two facts have become abundantly clear. First, the state legislature is not likely to save New York counties from unfunded mandates anytime soon. In fact, they've actually compounded the problem by cutting state aid for many of the very programs they mandate we deliver. And last month, the governor made it clear in a pre-budget statement that municipalities should not expect growth in state aid. And second, in this environment, if New York counties want to ensure essential services and protect property taxpayers, they have to be willing to implement fundamental changes in how they deliver many essential services. And for those municipalities unwilling to change, I can assure you they will not escape the harsh consequences of basic math. Some New York counties are now operated by control boards, and others still have seen their credit ratings plummet to junk bond status. And so I firmly believe that for New York municipalities refusing to take bold and decisive action, bankruptcy may ultimately become a very real possibility. That said, I can assure you, working together, we will not allow that to happen here. As sobering as the challenges are, our community has a proven track record of reform and a strong willingness to embrace change. In fact, I believe that because of our community's strength, we actually have a tremendous opportunity to address long-standing issues and improve the quality of life for the people of Ulster County, both now and long into the future. And so as we examine the difficult choices we face, I think it's of great value to put our past actions into context, to show exactly why we do what we do, and more importantly, what would have happened if we had not made those difficult but much needed choices in the past. This chart clearly shows why, with our partners in the county legislature, we've instituted major reforms and why we must continue. The bottom line is, if we hadn't implemented past reforms, then property taxes, because that would have been the only place left to turn, property taxes would have cumulatively increased by 66% since 2009. Instead, we have held them virtually flat. And that, among other things, is directly tied to the value of this new form of government. There is no question Ulster County's move to a charter form of government was a big idea that delivered bold change. Designing a compassionate solution to our nursing home crisis was another big idea that is delivering bold change. And the STRIVE project that relocates a community college satellite into the heart of Kingston is yet another big idea. Ladies and gentlemen, big ideas and bold change are exactly what is needed if we are to thrive in a highly competitive global economy. So just like in our budgets in the past, this budget too will include what some may view as big ideas and bold changes. And that's important because the great people of Ulster County have every right to demand that their leaders deliver results. You see, I believe all elected officials serve the exact same taxpayers. And I cannot and will not allow towns or the city of Kingston budgets to explode because of safety net costs, even if it means we have to make difficult decisions at the county level. So my administration has built a bridge that provides for immediate relief to local budgets while also providing added time for our state legislators to hopefully deliver real and honest mandate relief. This budget includes a fiscally responsible 3-year phase-in that completely takes over safety net expenses from the towns in the city of Kingston, a problem, by the way, that has existed since 1946. A problem, by the way, that legislators like Pete Lauren and so many others have made a cornerstone of their public service. I also want to recognize legislators Kevin Roberts for his intense effort in examining this issue. This action delivers $1.7 million of direct local relief for towns in the city of Kingston in 2013, at a time when they need it most. And while over the next 3 years, it will provide almost $11 million in total relief for local budgets. You see, the safety net issue has grown into more than just a trivial dispute over who pays for what between towns, the city of Kingston, and the county. It's now threatening to cause widespread and irreparable damage to the towns and the city of Kingston's ability to deliver essential local services. But at its root, the safety net problem really stems from yet another severely underfunded state mandate. It is appalling that New York is one of only 3 states in our nation that chooses to fund this state initiative on the backs of local taxpayers. That said, if the state legislature won't provide relief, we have to look for solutions of our own. And so in this budget, we have proposed a strategy to solve this problem once and for all. And just like the safety net, the RRA is yet another long-standing issue that's threatening to implode. I'm not here to rehash the past or to place blame, but these are the facts. The Ulster County government is responsible for $23 million incurred by the RRA, and as unfortunate as this debt is unavoidable. The county must also pay something that is known as the net service fee every year. Basically, the county property taxpayers must subsidize the operating losses incurred by the RRA. There is no limit to that number, and we are now facing a high likelihood that the net service fee could skyrocket if volume levels at the RRA fall off. The net service fee projected by the RRA for 2013 is $2.5 million, and there's serious danger of escalation. But before I go on, I want to take a brief moment and recognize and thank the Special Committee on the RRA. This Special Committee is chaired by Legislator Rich Gerentine, and he's doing a great job. And I know they have more work still ahead of them. I also want to publicly acknowledge the hard work of Legislators Ken Wishnick and John Parity on this issue. This committee has thoughtfully and systematically reviewed the numerous options with respect to solving this massive debt and volume issue at RRA. Their work has been admirable, and my administration looks forward to assisting them in implementing what appears to be the only viable solution. So in this budget, we are proposing something we refer to as modified flow control, a local law that would require the vast majority of solid waste produced in Ulster County to move through the RRA, and virtually overnight, this should eliminate the need for a net service fee. But this is more than just about that. The enabling flow control state legislation was at its core designed to encourage recycling and protect the environment. And another benefit of this action would be to dramatically improve the environment for competition for small local trash haulers. This is accomplished by leveling the playing field with respect to tipping fees. Right now, large trash hauling companies with heavily discounted tipping fees have virtually squeezed out all local competitors, creating a monopoly for themselves. In addition to this law, the RRA board itself must take important steps for the solution to reach its full potential. First, the RRA board must create a dual fee structure, one for municipalities and the other for private haulers. And second, they must break out fees for delivered versus non-delivered trash. This multi-tiered approach is designed to protect taxpayers in our towns and the city of Kingston. Simply put, as hard as this is, this solution addresses the volume and massive debt problems at the RRA straight on, and it doesn't kick the can down the road. As part of this reform-based budget, I am also committed to restructuring Ulster County's economic development efforts. We as a community must do everything in our power to spur job growth and strengthen local businesses. And though the board and staff of the UCDC and IDA have made Herculean efforts, the fact remains, the current UCDC IDA model is broken. It's inefficient, disjointed, and in its current form leads to fragmented and duplicative economic development efforts. Simply put, I believe the people of Ulster County deserve better. And with the changes we're proposing, economic development efforts will be better. And on top of being better, they'll also be done for hundreds of thousands of dollars less. My administration has a proven track record of delivering results. whether it be moving local projects through the regional councils, helping local businesses over bureaucratic hurdles, or even successfully restructuring the county's tourism operation in support of our $420 million tourism industry. And when I think of the hard work my administration has done, nothing becomes more rewarding than the countless statements from tourism-based businesses like Rocking Horse Ranch owner Steve Turk, who said the county executive's impact on tourism has been exactly what we needed at exactly the right time. I also want to be clear that as we move to restructure economic development, I have great respect for Legislator Jim Maloney, his Vice Chair Pete Lauren, and the entire Economic Development Committee. This budget is designed to strengthen that partnership as we work to grow Ulster County's economy together. To get there, we have to be honest about the fact that Ulster County's business community has lost faith in the UCDC IDA model, a message they delivered loud and clear by not providing major private sector funding to the UCDC and by resigning from their board in droves. And since in many counties economic development has much greater funding through the private sector dollars, restructuring for us is a must. As I said earlier, I don't believe this is an issue with UCDC's board or its employees, but I do believe the problem has to do with the UCDC IDA structure itself. In fact, though many IDAs have come under scrutiny and harsh criticism from the state comptroller, I have great faith in many of our IDA board members, and as such, I still believe that if the IDA's role is clearly defined and strictly limited, it can be an effective tool in assisting core economic development efforts. That said, they are not and should not ever act as an independent development agency unto themselves. They are ostensibly a financing mechanism, no more and no less. And so in this budget, I am recommending the formation of a new Office of Business Services as a division within the county's planning department. It will function as the single point of access for economic development in Ulster County to better coordinate efforts among Empire State Development, regional councils, IDA, legislative, town, and city officials, as well as other stakeholders, and most importantly, to accomplish this at the speed of business. This model will function with a council of economic advisors that enhances partnerships with the legislators' Economic Development Committee, as well as the private sector, all while retaining the watchdog responsibility of our elected officials by not simply throwing taxpayer money at an outside agency. It also leaves intact the Shovel Ready Committee, the IDA, and the Revolving Loan Fund Committee, all of which are appointed exclusively by the Ulster County Legislature. And as we seek to facilitate a smooth transition, I am very pleased to announce that this new model has the complete support of UCDC's Chairman of the Board. My administration looks forward to discussing this plan in even greater detail during this year's upcoming budget hearings. And as part of this overhaul of economic development, I will also be extending an offer to the IDA to administer their operations much in the way UCDC currently does. This service will provide the people of Ulster County and the IDA with increased transparency and much greater accountability. This recommendation is in complete alignment with Minority Leader Dave Donaldson's thoughtful legislation calling for exactly that, a resolution that rightfully gained the full support of the entire legislature. But economic development in Ulster County is much more than just this. We've been working with advanced manufacturing companies to grow this emerging segment of our economy, and we've made sacrifices in other areas to be able to maintain funding for Cornell Cooperative in support of the $500 million agriculture industry, something legislators Wayne Harris and Hector Rodriguez have been tireless fighters for. And to strengthen our role as a unique tourism destination while enhancing quality of life issues, we also continue to look to the future. And expanding our network of rail trails is critical to Ulster County's future. That's why I will be proposing a plan to convert much of the Ulster and Delaware rail beds into rail trails available for walking, biking, and hiking. This effort will leave intact the existing tourism railroad attraction operated by the Catskill Mountain Railroad, but it will open up over 32 miles of trails, much of which winds past the Ashokan Reservoir and provides some of the most breathtaking views of the Catskills. This is, by the way, a great place for the DEP and the DEC and Parks and Recreation to participate in helping Ulster County's economy grow. This rail trail conversion will have an immediate short-term as well as a long-term economic impact. First, the existing railroad tracks are a valuable asset that will be decommissioned and sold, generating one-time revenues of approximately $650,000, or with the potential sale of the rail line to a not-for-profit like the Open Space Institute or one of many others, it may well generate additional revenue as well as create enhanced avenues for grant opportunities. The long-term value of this plan is almost incalculable. Tourism dollars, community fitness, business attraction, and quality of life. Simply put, this does much more than just support the goal of creating the healthiest county in all of New York State and fighting childhood obesity while highlighting our pristine environment. By adding to the tourism magnet that is the walkway over the Hudson, an interconnected U&D corridor with the O&W corridor, which runs along Route 209, as well as the Hudson Valley Rail Trail and the Wallkill Valley Rail Trail, Ulster County will be well on our way to creating the single largest interconnected rail trail network in the state of New York. This vision will result in a tremendous new world-class tourism asset and add to our already long list of tourism attractions. And as exciting as all that is, I believe the most exciting part of the 2013 executive budget is the fact that it does not raise property taxes 1 cent. In fact, the 2013 Ulster County executive budget actually includes a small but symbolic property tax cut, a tax cut we've included to act as an example, encouraging other municipalities to utilize the millions of dollars in safety net relief we've provided to deliver real property tax cuts of their own. The Ulster County property tax cut is the first in over a decade. And to protect county property taxpayers, I can assure you, I will also veto any attempt to override the tax cap. Now, as I said earlier, none of this is free. Providing millions of dollars in relief to our towns in the city of Kingston, taking steps to save our county road patrol that is endangered by budget pressures, delivering essential services, and cutting property taxes has meant making very difficult decisions. It's meant rethinking how we deliver some of our services, and it's meant utilizing a new revenue stream to pay for at least some of it. I think it's also important to acknowledge that without Governor Cuomo's leadership and courage in absorbing the 12.5% local match for infrastructure repairs in the wake of Hurricane Irene, without this help, some of the positive actions included in this budget would have simply been impossible. And for that, we owe Governor Cuomo a debt of gratitude. But the fact remains, with the state legislature's unwillingness to fix the mandate problems, the challenges before us are no longer cyclical, but instead have become structural. And so the solutions in this budget must be more interconnected than ever before. This multi-year plan relies heavily on a series of components all working together to resolve long-standing and complex problems without jeopardizing the county's fiscal stability. And to achieve these results, we've cut spending $3.6 million in the 2013 budget by restructuring real property into finance, economic development into planning, stop DWI into probation, as well as major reorganizations of mental health. With respect to mental health services, my biggest concerns are always for our residents and ensuring services remain available. That said, as a result of dramatically reduced state aid and additional state demands, our current service model has become completely unsustainable, something I warned of last year. I believe in these financially challenging times, county government's role must continue to evolve, to work within our limited resources and transition to a more sustainable organization. We must utilize our professional expertise to ensure high-quality services for people in need. We can no longer afford to be an organization trying to cling to the idea of providing every single service in-house. Because the truth is, that model can only lead to compromised service, or in the end, to higher taxes, or unfortunately, no service at all. The new model we are bringing forward has been designed in conjunction with and with the ongoing support of the New York State Office of Mental Health, and is fully supported by Ulster County's own Commissioner of Mental Health. Under this plan, as Ulster County transitions away from in-house service delivery, we are fortunate to have highly qualified provider of children's services available in Ulster County starting January 1st, 2013. The well-respected Astor Service for Children and Families, a community-based non-for-profit organization that has provided children's mental health services across the Mid-Hudson Valley since 1953. A provider able to help children meet life's challenges and reach their full potential at no cost to the taxpayers of Ulster County, and more importantly, with no loss of service. Additionally, my budget preserves funding for the Kids Together program, which serves children experiencing social, emotional, or behavioral difficulties. Further, thank you. It's an amazing program. Further, this budget continues to provide for a comprehensive network of non-for-profits for adult services while operating in a more cost-effective way. And though I fully appreciate that changing from the status quo is often painful, the bottom line is, without these changes, there will be massive growth in the county taxpayers' contribution to the mental health department, in addition to the $3.1 million county taxpayers already fund. It's either that, or with this restructuring, combined with the expansion of outside providers, not only will the county taxpayers save $1.5 million, but quality services will remain available for those in need. There is no question that reshaping service delivery intelligently and compassionately in an environment of escalating state mandates takes time. Our goal has always been to restructure county government into a more sustainable organization. This budget continues that because the math simply doesn't work for the previous system anymore. This year, we once again aggressively managed vacancies, and with the support of legislators Aiello and Provenzano and the entire Personnel Committee, we offered an employee buyout program. We also restructured operations to reduce overall county staffing levels, and since I have always believed in leading by example, the County Executive's Office has continued to cut staffing and personnel costs at a greater percentage than almost anywhere else in county government. Since taking office, the executive staffing levels are now down over 20%. Between 2009 and 2012, the county workforce has been reduced by 213 positions. The 2013 budget continues this difficult but necessary process by proposing the reduction of 18 positions through a separation incentive, 44 through the removal of vacancies, and unfortunately 28 through layoffs in our mental health department. And as always, we will do everything in our power to assist impacted workers by placing them on priority lists utilized to fill future vacancies. Above everything else, the county's ability to continue to provide essential service in these challenging times is a testament to our amazing workforce who have risen to the challenge time and time again, and who should constantly be commended. A great example of that is our Department of Public Works, one of the 5 major non-mandated areas within county government. They are operating with 24% less staff than when I took office. Plus 2 years ago, to better utilize technology, they tackled the harshest winter in 20 years, and last year they took on the worst natural disaster in our county's history in Hurricane Irene. And now, with an additional investment, we expect to save over $300,000 in 2013 and over $600,000 annually going forward by utilizing cutting-edge technology to improve overall snow removal. And as we, thank you. As we look to restructure, cut spending, and protect property taxpayers by tackling the safety net issue, we as a government must also acknowledge the need for revenues to support essential services. But I also believe property taxes should be the last resort, since they are a regressive tax that impacts people regardless of how many services they use. We as a county also cannot ignore the fact that additional traffic and more frequent and severe storms are damaging our roadways and infrastructure at an alarming rate. And since the state has not relented on mandates, the 2013 budget does include a local vehicle surcharge to provide new revenues to support our transportation infrastructure. This revenue is broad-based and as a user fee is significantly more fair than simply taxing property owners. And to put this fee into perspective, there are 36 other New York counties that already have this nominal surcharge in place. In an environment when we are now forced to spend over 100% of all county property tax dollars to pay for state-mandated programs, I think we should take a moment. There's over 100% of the county's property tax dollars are being used to pay for state-mandated programs. In that environment, large areas that are not mandated, like the Sheriff's Road Patrol, they're at extreme risk. This fact has also added even greater importance to the need to deliver innovation and change within the 30% of the county budget that's not mandated by the state. The major non-mandated areas are our community college, Golden Hill, DPW, mental health, and the Sheriff's Road Patrol. For SUNY Ulster, we are moving forward with the STRIVE project and among other things like improving access to higher education for inner city youth, putting surplus properties back on the tax rolls, and centralizing health and human services. The STRIVE project is also designed to help the community college's business model and hopefully offset future subsidy increases. With respect to Golden Hill, this budget fully funds operations for the balance of 2013. And the cooperation between the Ulster County Legislature and my office, as well as the hard work of the LDC and the critical role of Legislator Jeanette Provenzano, have ensured that this compassionate transition remains on schedule, all while our residents continue to receive the high-quality care they so richly deserve. And so after making major changes like these to large non-mandated cost centers like the community college, Golden Hill, the Department of Public Works, and now in this budget to the mental health department, that only leaves the Sheriff's Road Patrol. We have had to work extremely hard making cuts in other areas, designing a new revenue stream, and consolidating other departments to protect our Sheriff's Road Patrol. Simply put, I'm doing everything in my power to protect public safety. I know many are unaware until there's an emergency exactly what our Sheriff's Office provides. Swift water rescue teams that were life-saving during Hurricane Irene, search and rescue operations, drug dogs, police training, river patrols, the Ulster County Mobile Incident Command Center, as well as hosting the EOC or Emergency Operations Center in case of disaster. I believe the most important function of any government is to provide for the safety of its citizens. This budget also reaffirms my administration's commitment to law and order by providing a much-needed additional corrections officer at the jail, plus another prosecutor with the DA's office to hold dangerous criminals accountable. That said, I also believe that as the policy board, the Ulster County Legislature has an obligation to do what many other counties are now doing, and that is to conduct a comprehensive study of the law enforcement coverage to address equity issues, any gaps in service, as well as the economic viability of the entire system. People have a right to feel safe in their homes, but they also have a right not to be taxed out of them. A philosophy the chair of this committee, Rich Parity, has consistently supported, especially since the sheriff's budget has now become the second largest cost center in the county behind DSS after we exclude Golden Hill. So in this effort to improve while protecting law enforcement funding, we will be consolidating our Stop DWI efforts into probation. Analysis has shown that too much of the past budget for DWI prevention, 30%, was being spent on administrative costs rather than direct efforts to stop drunk driving. And so by moving Stop DWI under the probation department, more money, 89%, will now go directly to frontline drunk driving prevention efforts to make our streets safer. So as we innovate, restructure, and improve into 30% of the county budget that's not mandated, we have to be frank about the challenges we face. Pension costs. Mandated contributions to the state retirement fund are without question a budget buster, impacting county governments and taxpayers everywhere. Employee pension costs in Ulster County were up almost 3,700% since 2002, and that was last year. To highlight the unsustainability of these costs is the fact that the mandated pension costs for this year alone have gone up another $2.8 million to $19.5 million annually. That means the total since 2002 is an increase of over 4,300%. That number is more than just staggering. It means something to Ulster County families. Ultimately, it has the potential to break local governments. With state aid, the amount of state aid the state provides has continued to be reduced. This is, in effect, a backdoor defunding of existing mandated programs, an action that negatively impacts the revenue side of our budget and in the end puts our local taxpayers at additional risk. I want you to see the enormity of the gap between what's mandated by the state and how much less they actually provide in aid. Only 12% of the county's revenue comes from the state, and that number is falling. Yet they mandate over 70% of the expenses, and that number is climbing. Mandates do make up over 70% of our budget. And even though the governor has frozen the rate of increase in Medicaid, the county's share of DSS has now exceeded $50 million. Now I'd like to take a moment and touch base on the PBA settlement. The Ulster County government has 5 labor unions. One operates with slightly different guidelines, and that is the PBA, the bargaining unit for the Sheriff's Road Patrol. As the county executive, one of my many responsibilities is negotiating labor contracts for the county, and I take this role very seriously. I strive to balance the need to properly compensate a tremendous workforce with the reality that our taxpayers are being pushed to their limits. That said, there is one potentially multi-million-dollar expense associated with these negotiations that neither I nor the county can control. An expense that may well be imposed upon Ulster County taxpayers since the New York State Legislature has previously granted police personnel binding arbitration. And so there is the potential for a multi-million-dollar expense to be added to the Sheriff's Road Patrol this year. As a result, we have responsibly budgeted for it, but it is likely to have a dramatic impact on the payroll costs for the Sheriff's Road Patrol, both now and long into the future. But all the other challenges combined do not present the level of danger that unfunded mandates do. The real question is, with the challenges confronting us, how can we deliver essential services without breaking our taxpayers? The answer from my administration has always been embrace change, find innovative solutions, and always, always, always put the needs of the people ahead of the wants of the politicians. And so as we look at the tax cap, sales tax, fund balance, and county's tax levy, my administration never forgets exactly who it is that we work for. In a unique situation brought about by the refinement of the tax cap by the State Comptroller's Office, combining with the previously unaddressed safety net issue, the tax cap for Ulster County in 2013 is actually less than the 2% many people associate with the tax cap law. The actual tax cap limit for Ulster County in 2013 is 1.37%. But the fact remains, as the county executive, I don't want to raise taxes at all. Under the category of good news is the fact that the sales tax revenues in Ulster County appear to be stabilizing. So we have conservatively projected sales tax for 2013 at $90.1 million, an increase of only 2.5%. And from the fund balance perspective, as we work through a multi-year solution to protect our taxpayers, we've allocated $10 million from the general fund to offset expenses. That's $850,000 less than last year. So as a result, there's now $14.8 million left, or 5% of the general fund. I am committed to rebuilding the county's fund balance through thoughtful planning, effective management, and responsible budgeting. These concepts have allowed us to maintain a strong bond rating in the midst of serious financial storms, and that fiscal responsibility has also served our taxpayers well. The county's 2013 tax levy, $78,730,408, 0.16% less than 2012. This is not only the first time in the last 10 years that there's been a taxing decrease, it's the second time that my administration has delivered a budget at or below the 0% to protect the overburdened families in their time of great need. But the fact remains, all the positive changes we've made, all the sweeping reforms we've instituted, and all the major problems we've solved can still be undone by the state legislature. And if they cannot find the courage to address mandate relief for local governments, it is undeniable unfunded mandates will quickly become a statewide recipe for disaster. You see, the truth is there is no magic formula for designing successful county budgets or for running an effective county government. Only hard work, long days, and tough choices. And as a result, I'm proud to say much of the sweeping reforms we've accomplished together, both in this budget and over the past 3 years, conventional wisdom said could not be done. And so we have designed this budget around 3 key principles: protecting taxpayers, bringing straightforward solutions to long-standing problems, and ensuring essential services remain available for people in need. All in an era when fundamental mandate relief from the state has remained highly elusive. I can't fix what the state legislature has broken, but I can attempt to buffer their inaction with this budget. So in this budget, we've cut property taxes. We've provided almost $11 million in relief over the next 3 years to protect town and City of Kingston taxpayers with our phased-in safety net plan. We've also provided major reforms that overhaul the county's economic development efforts. We've provided a responsible solution to the $23 million unavoidable RRA debt. We've provided difficult but thoughtful solutions to the fiscal crisis at mental health that was threatening to endanger services. And in this budget, we've made the hard choices throughout county operations in order to preserve the Sheriff's Road Patrol. We've cut spending $3.6 million. Thank you. In addition to that, we've kept funding for our amazing contract agencies level. The level from last year to protect the valuable services they provide all across our county and among other things. This budget also lays out a vision to help grow our tourism economy with dramatically expanded rail trail availability. Add to all this the fact that this year, my administration, in conjunction with the county legislature, maximized property tax exemptions for seniors, first-time homebuyers, our veterans, as well as our disabled citizens, plus with the leadership and cooperation of Legislator Tracy Bartels, we became the first New York county to provide sales tax exemptions for both residential and commercial solar panel installations. And above all else, with this budget, Ulster County property taxes are protected. Since their property taxes don't go up, they actually go down. Now I look forward to working with the Ulster County Legislature through the 2013 budget process. And as we review the details with Ways and Means, we are fortunate to have responsible and experienced legislators like Chairman Rich Gerentine, as well as Deputy Chair Legislator Don Gregorius, and Legislators Provenzano, Harris, Rodriguez, and the rest of the Ways and Means Committee. And so in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, though I do not believe in change for the sake of change alone, we as a community must not fear change, especially if we are to reposition Ulster County to compete in a highly competitive global economy. Now, as we stand here in the beautiful town of Rosendale, it reminds me that we all face similar challenges, whether it be a county or town government, or more importantly, a family sitting at the kitchen table trying to make ends meet. Limited resources and intense budget pressures demand we do things differently, and so we are. It is my great hope that the safety net relief we provide will be used primarily to lower property taxes. But the fact remains, important public needs are suffering as a result of the current financial climate. So to end where I began, we are here in the town of Rosendale for a purpose, to illustrate the real-world benefit of what we are doing. We all know the swimming pool at the Rosendale Recreation Center was closed all summer long and is still in a state of disrepair right now. We as a community cannot allow that to continue. So I am thrilled to announce that when fully implemented, the $67,000 of annual safety net relief to Rosendale could go a long way to covering a yearly bond payment to repair the currently shuttered Rosendale community. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe this pool can and must reopen. Though in the end, the decision is one for the town board members of Rosendale to make, I hope Safety Net Relief will allow this beloved and once vibrant community facility to provide wholesome and healthy recreation to all the children and families of this entire region for generations to come. And if you want to understand what this budget is really about, it's about children and adults, it's about families and seniors, it's about taxpayers and business owners, it's about now and it's about the future, and ultimately, it's about making Ulster County the finest place anywhere to live, work, and raise a family. Thank you very Thank you very much, guys. We're going swimming. Of course.
Oh, would it? If you know, just because obviously we haven't even looked at the budget yet, would it be possible to grab it later in the day?
Most likely, sure. Close office. I don't know what's on his calendar, but I would say most likely.
Okay, yeah. If I might just try to get most around for what's actually in the budget.
Okay, perfect.
I'm assuming you have copies.
Yes, they're right outside for you. Yep. Copy right outside for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It's on that Taylor show by windows.
Because there's from the swimming pool that can't be filled here. Hey Dan. Hey listen, 1 year over in my county, you had to pay to hear the budget presentation. No, it was the state of the county address. That's what it was.
You have to pay to hear it.
Yeah, he
private fund.
he had it as he delivered his state of the county address before at the Chamber of Commerce dinner. Southern Dutchess Chamber of Commerce. Molinaro delivered it in Beacon, for the love of God.
Oh,
Beacon.
God, sorry. Yeah, Beacon technically isn't Dutchess County.
Maybe. Although I'm not real sure.
You know, one thing you could do, though, is you could take the train from Poughkeepsie to Beacon.
You can take the train from Poughkeepsie to Beacon. In fact, before I did this gig, I was I worked for a union down there, and that's what I used to do. I used to take the train.
Oh, cool. Well, he was on vacation this week, so we get to send him.
Pardon me?
He's on vacation this week, so I get to send him.
He's on vacation.
He is.
Oh, Hugo. Well, not for nothing, but you understand it significantly.
I think every once in a while it's good to have a change of voice. And he's the clear person.
Yeah. Good luck with that one.
It's going to be real test of my Kitsui trying to fix me with my skill. Just trying more steps.
You know what? I mean, you decided to
Good. I think it was great.
On the upside, we have a new publisher, and she is polar opposite. She is personable. She has done wonders, wonders around this very short time that she's been there. And real change. And that's awesome.
It's probably a while in coming.
Pardon me?
One that was a while in coming.
Yeah.
One was being
Well, it was neat. You know, I mean, if we could get rid of some of the other, I mean, Sam is gone, so that's good. But Tony is sitting for it. Although he's a little bit. And then there's Jeremy.
yeah, it's eternally German.
Yes.